Good evening, viewers, and welcome to this edition of NTV Sports Page. It's Monday, the 6th of July, and I'm Curtis Morton. In our headlines, Jason Holder in batting slump, and in our feature for this evening, Nevis' Director of Sports speaks on freeing up of restriction on sports. We'll take this break and I'll be right back.
Hello everyone, my name is Nikesha Henry and I am an ambassador with the Newcastle Bay Foundation. I have exciting news to share. As we recognize Plastic Free July, the Newcastle Bay Foundation invites everyone to participate in its Facebook challenge. It's as easy as DTP. D. Download and use the CleanSwell app to record the items being collected. T. Take photos or videos which show how you avoid using single-use plastics and how you clean up single-use plastics from the environment. P. Post pictures on the Newcastle Bay Foundation Facebook page between July 1st and July 15th. Winners in various categories will receive prizes including a laptop, a smartphone, and a tablet. Remember, in order to qualify, use the CleanSwell app. DTP. Need more information? Visit our Facebook page at Newcastle Bay Foundation or call us at 660-1154 for the terms and conditions.
Well, I'm back and we start with cricket. Jason Holder underwhelmed with the bat once more as head coach Phil Simmons officially rejoined the team after his latest negative coronavirus test on the final day of their drawn intra-squad match. In a bid to get some time in the middle, Holder promoted himself to opening the batting for the side he was leading against the Craig Brathwaite 11, but the move backfired as he made just 2 of 15 deliveries. Holder's cheap dismissal means that he has made just 7 runs and faced fewer than 30 balls in 3 innings across these 2 intra-squad matches ahead of the start of next week's first test against England. There was better news as Simmons rejoined the camp, having been self-isolating in his room at the team's on-site hotel at Emirates Old Trafford after leaving the bubble to attend his father-in-law's funeral. He has watched the majority of the rain-interrupted 4-day game from his balcony, but he presided over the warm-ups on Thursday after his 3rd negative test for COVID-19. Before play, the West Indies marked the passing of the great Sir Everton Weekes, who died on Wednesday, aged 95, with a minute's silence and wore black armbands when they took to the field on the lights which remained on all day. Less than an hour of play was possible on the last morning because of overnight rain as the Brathwaite 11 advanced their position from 112 for 7 to 178 all out, with Shannon Gabriel taking 4 for 42. We'll take this break and I'll be back with our feature for this evening.
Hi, my name is Joanne Fleming and I'm a lawyer here at Myrna R. Walwyn and Associates. Sometimes trying to exercise and eat healthy can be challenging, especially when you work a 9-to-5 job. However, starting my fit journey has been one of the best decisions I've made. I now have increased levels of energy that last me throughout the day, and exercise is a great way to reduce stress and anxiety. So, if you've started your fit journey, stick with it. And if you haven't, come join us. And remember, fit is beautiful.
Well, I'm back, and tonight, cricket is in the spotlight. Well, make that general sports. Recently, we spoke to Jamia Claxton about the freeing up of some restrictions on sporting activities. Let's take in this exclusive interview with the Director of Sports, Jamia Claxton. I'm here with the Director of Sports, Mr. Jamia Claxton. And as we continue to go through this COVID-19 pandemic, of course, the task force nationally continue to make changes in the regulations gradually. I think it's all about taking it step by step. And so we have arrived at that point that the sporting public in St. Kitts and Nevis were anxiously looking forward to when they can get back on the field of play. Jamir, maybe you could tell me how the discussions went, who spearheaded the discussions, who were involved, and some of the suggestions that were made.
Yes, good afternoon. It's a pleasure being here to give an update on the new regulations as it relates to sports in St. Kitts and Nevis. The discussions actually started with the Department of Sports Nevis and the Department of Sports St. Kitts. Persons were contacting us, asking us about when they will be able to go back and play sports and so forth. And so a number of discussions, a number of meetings were initiated where we involved a number of the national federations. And we had discussions as to how we should go about reintroducing sports in St. Kitts and Nevis. We recognize that there were going to be a lot of limitations and restrictions because of the state of emergency, but we needed to be prepared in order to, when we get permission, that is a smooth transition. During our discussions, we look at a number of models from around the world, including Australia. We look at what they did in Germany with the resumption of the Professional Football League. And so we came together and put together a document which was presented to the National Emergency Organizing Committee, of which they would have approved up to a certain level.
They certainly didn't approve everything, but are you satisfied with what was approved?
Yes, we are very much satisfied with what was approved. Reason being, we know that sports is a very important part of the social fabric in St. Kitts and Nevis, and persons were getting very anxious. And what we also recognize that persons were going against the regulation and started to engage in sporting activity, which was definitely wrong. But with the new regulation, what they approve now is now legitimate in terms of teams now start practicing. Persons could go out and do the exercise in larger groups, but of course observing the regulation in terms of physical distancing and stuff like that. So what the discussion and the suggestion allowed for is the persons to get involved in sporting activities legitimately without going against what the regulation of the state of emergency.
I noticed that the regulations has an aspect pertaining to spectators and the distancing of spectators. So how far do you think we can go in terms of actual competitive sports? It is one thing to practice. The guys want to be competitive. How far can we go?
So as of now, the regulation don't allow for competitive sport. That will be reviewed in the next cycle. The idea is to allow persons to get feel again, and then of course we would have made recommendations in terms of actual competition as well, which would have been level 3 of our recommendations. You know, they only approved up to level 2. So we are hoping that during the next regulation, after the end of this particular regulation, the next regulation would allow for
the
actual competitions. Of course, that will come with some restrictions.
Well.
One of the things that were discussed in a lot of the meetings were that we may have to have tournaments and so without fans, because the resources necessary to ensure that fans adhere to protocols and so forth, safety protocols, may be too much for these small associations around here.
In terms of the present circumstances with the limitations pertaining to practicing and so forth, I would assume that the sanitization of hands, the distancing to some level, and they did allow some contact, minimal contact in terms of contact sports. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts, I must say that we did a pretty good job in terms of what we would have recommended. As you mentioned, it's now upon the associations and the individual clubs to follow those guidelines, recommendation. In Nevis, we would have circulated the plan to practically most of the associations and some clubs, so they are aware of some of the protocols that they have to follow at training sessions, at sporting activities and so forth. As a Department of Sports, we also intend to play our part in terms of having signage at the ground, ensuring that the facilities are cleaned regularly, so that we will play our part as well, because at the end of the day, safety and the health and safety of all participants must be paramount, must be the most important thing.
As we speak to the Nevision public and the public wider field, what would be your recommendations to the actual players? Because sometimes I get the impression that some people are getting a bit careless. Some people are even stating that we are COVID-free. Nobody has died. But the whole idea is that I think the task force will have done a pretty good job, and that's the way we want to keep it. Your words to the players and to the general public.
Yeah, I want to encourage all persons involved in sporting activities to please adhere to the recommended guidelines of the National Emergency Committee and the COVID Task Force. While we are COVID-free, per se, that is just strictly based on the testing and so forth. We don't know if the virus is lingering here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Some people could be asymptomatic.
Exactly. So it is important that we continue to follow the recommended guidelines. I know that it's a new way of operating, but it's for the best interest of you as individuals playing sport. For the country as a whole, we don't want a situation where we have another outbreak. So I'm encouraging you and admonishing you to please follow the proper protocols and guidelines. One of the things we are suggesting is that you wash your hands just before practice. During practice, if it's necessary, you keep washing your hands. If there's no need to be in contact with a person, do not do it. I know there's some sports are contact sport, and contact is necessary per se, but as much as possible you avoid unnecessary contact.
And what about limited use of equipment? Like you should have your own equipment as far as possible.
As far as possible, yeah. That's one of the things we're promoting. As much as possible, don't be sharing equipment and so
like
forth.
I shouldn't be borrowing your bat.
Exactly.
I should get my own bat as far as possible.
And I know it will take a certain level of discipline, but I'm encouraging you, it's for your best interest, it's for your safety, it's for the safety, the health and safety of the people across the country in general.
And would you recommend, Jamia, that maybe at the end of a practice session, everybody make sure that they use some good soap and water and wash their hands properly and,
definitely.
And put back on their mask before they leave.
Yeah, definitely.
That kind of stuff.
Exactly, and that's one of the things we're promoting. You should be arriving first of all at practice with your mask and all that, and after practice you wash your hands or everything, and then you should be leaving in your mask and so forth.
And no congregating.
No congregation. We in the meeting that we would have had with the association, we would have stressed some of these things, that the usual coming together and pray and so after practice, unless you're going to physically
pray from a distance,
you will have to refrain for the practice for the time being. So I would just encourage everyone to just adhere to the guidelines. It's just for the best interest of the country and whole.
Going forward, Jamia, I know you're not a prophet, but level 3 recommendations, how far in the offing you think they are in terms of months away or whatever?
I would think that if things continue to trend in the direction that it's trending, and of course, and I want to say to you, Curtis, that individuals, the organization, the sporting organization, the clubs and everything, you have a role in trying to help us to get to level 3. If you are not following proper guidelines and protocols and so forth, the NEOC are likely to remain at level 2, shut it down or whatever. So you have to do your part. You have to show that you are disciplined, you are following rules and guidelines in order for us to take that next step. Because the idea is to take the next step once we are satisfied with what would have occurred in step 1 and 2. So it's important. So I foresee that we could be getting back to some level of normalcy, which is level 3 competition, probably August, September, hopefully.
And I want to throw
I don't want to.
I want to throw the big fish in the water. Interprimary down the road.
Well, persons have been contacting me about interprimary. The thing is time that we do interprimary. At this point in time, we've had no discussions on the possibilities of having interprimary.
That's somewhere in the future.
That's definitely in the future. People must understand, in order to pull off an event, a sporting event, especially in this time of the nature of interprimary, the amount of resources we'll have to invest in just for the safety of people, the safety of the athlete. It's better that we wait until everything is pretty safe. Yeah. So I know persons been messaging me and telling me how about interprimary August, Monday, this, that. At this point in time, it will be very challenging. At the end of the day, the safety of our children is important. We don't want to engage in activity that put the people at risk.
Well, thank you so much, Jamia, and thank you for you and all the wonderful guys who are part of the discussions. And we sincerely hope that the associations and the members in leading roles or leadership roles within these sporting bodies will take their responsibilities seriously to guide the younger folks within the organization to let them know that this COVID thing is serious. Might not look so from the outside looking in and saying, boy, everything is safe, but you never know. This virus is deadly and you have to take precautions. So I sincerely hope that the associations, in terms of the leaders, would set the tone, set the example, make sure that the players adhere, so that we can go to level 3.
Yeah, definitely. Once we do the right thing, level 3 may come sooner than you expect. So I would like to echo the sentiments of Curtis. Just do what is right.
Thank you so much, Jamia, and we look forward to exciting times yet in the future. Well, that's our package for this evening. I am Curtis Morton, reminding you that you can watch sports if you are not fit. But to play sports requires fitness, diligence, and sacrifice. Have a good night.